On a quiet Montana morning, the winding country roads were bathed in soft golden light as tall pines swayed gently overhead. Sarah Mitchell and Mike Reynolds were driving their ambulance home after a long, draining night. Here, their minds were set on a warm meal and a few hours of sleep when, around a bend, something utterly unexpected made them stop in their tracks, a bobcat standing boldly in the middle of the road. At first, it looked like just another wild meeting, but then the animal did something that sent shivers down Sarah's spine. Instead of running off or growling, it let out a sharp, urgent cry, almost as if begging them to follow. And before they could even process what had happened, the creature turned and melted into the trees, leaving behind a feeling of mystery and a warning that something important was about to unfold. Unfold! What secret could this wild messenger be leading them to? As the morning light painted the Bitterroot Valley in gentle shades of amber and rose, Sarah and Mike exchanged looks that mixed fatigue with disbelief. "I think this might be a record," Mike said with a tired chuckle, recalling the long night with 4 calls over endless miles. Showed sting. For Mike, who'd served in this county for nearly 20 years, these long, lonely drives still took a toll. Sarah, though the newest on the team, carried the weight of generations who knew every backroad and hidden trail of the valley. Their shared history with the land gave them a special kind of strength, one that made them see beauty even in the most unusual moments on duty. And with every mile, their hearts pounded with both worry and wonder. Could this strange behavior of a wild creature mean something more? Soon as they navigated yet another bend on the gravel track, there it was again, a bobcat, its gaze locked on their ambulance. In all her years in Montana, Sarah had seen only fleeting shadows or quick flashes of these mysterious cats. But this one was different. This one, with every step it took toward them, it exuded a raw, untamed grace that was both beautiful and unsettling. "That's strange," Mike murmured as he eased the vehicle to a slow crawl, while Sarah watched the animal's every move. The bobcat didn't roar or snarl like she expected. Instead, it paused, turned, and gave a heart-wrenching, mournful sound. "It looks like it wants us to follow," Sarah said, with a hint of disbelief, her eyes searching the creature's intense stare. Was it really inviting them to step into the wild, or was this just a trick of nature? Without a moment's hesitation, despite Mike's cautious protests, Sarah unbuckled her seatbelt and stepped out onto the cool, gravel road. The morning air was crisp against her skin, yet her focus remained fixed on the bobcat as it paced slowly between the road and the tree line, as if weighing its next move. Each careful step she took echoed softly through the quiet woods, the sound mingling with the crunch of fallen pine needles under her boots. Mike joined her, the two of them now following the creature's deliberate, almost choreographed steps toward the forest. They moved together, side by side, wondering whether this was simply nature at work or a call for help from deep within the wild. After about 50 yards into the woods, the bobcat finally came to a stop near an old, towering pine farm. There, to their shock and dismay, lay a young bobcat, cub no older than a few months, with its chest rising weakly in shallow, laboured breaths. The little creature's leg was caught in an illegal snare, the cruel metal wire biting deep into its flesh. Anger and sorrow mingled in Sarah's heart as she glanced at the cub and then at its watchful mother, who sat a short distance away, eyes full of worry and a silent plea for help. "Oh God," Sarah whispered, her voice choked with emotion. In that heart-stopping moment, the wild world revealed a harsh truth. Traps meant to catch game were still endangering innocent lives. Mike quickly grabbed the radio to call for wildlife help as Sarah, with steady hands, reached for their trauma kit. The urgency in her tone grew as she spoke into the radio, explaining the situation and the desperate condition of the injured cub. "This little one doesn't have time to wait," she insisted firmly, her eyes never leaving the suffering animal. Even as Mike argued softly that wild animals should be left to professionals, Sarah's compassion and unwavering resolve shone through. With a sigh and a gentle nod, Mike handed her the antiseptic wipes and bandages, their silent partnership emphasizing a bond forged over countless emergencies. Their conversation, soft yet filled with both tension and subtle humor. "If we get mauled by a bobcat, I'll never let you live it down," highlighted the surreal nature of their predicament. Working carefully near the injured cub, Sarah knelt down and spoke in a gentle, soothing voice, as if talking to a frightened child. "It's okay, we're here to help," she murmured. With practiced precision, she positioned the trauma shears around the stubborn metal of the snare. With a sharp snap, the wire finally gave way, a moment that made the little cub flinch, but not struggle. Mike assisted as Sarah cleaned the wound as best as she could, all the while noting the quiet tension in the air, the watchful eyes of the mother bobcat never leaving her injured baby. The situation was both heart-wrenching and a stark reminder of why such traps, banned years ago in these parts, still posed a threat to the wild. A few minutes later, the rumble of an approaching vehicle broke the silence. Dr. Elena Rodriguez from the local wildlife centre emerged, accompanied by 2 helpers, her calm and experienced manner immediately putting everyone at ease. "Well, this is a first," she said, kneeling beside Sarah to inspect their work. Her words were measured and kind, even as she drew out a tranquilizer gun, not to scare the bobcat, but simply to ensure safety. Miraculously, the mother cat backed away on her own, giving them the space they needed. As Dr. Rodriguez carefully administered a sedative, she explained that while the cub's leg could be saved, it would need surgery and a few weeks of careful rehabilitation. "So, the hard part will be keeping the mother from coming too close," she noted with a wry smile, reminding everyone that in the wild, every animal has its own territory and way of dealing with danger. Yeah. In the weeks that followed, news of that unusual rescue spread quickly through the community, making headlines in the local paper under a neutral title that simply read "Wild Creature Guides Ambulance to Injured Cub." Sarah kept a copy pinned right next to thank you cards from grateful patients. The experience had changed the way she thought about her job. No longer was it just about handling emergencies, it was about bridging the gap between human care and the raw, unpredictable forces of nature. For the first time, she felt that her instincts reached beyond routine procedures. They extended into the realm of trust, compassion, and understanding that connected all living things. 3 months later, on a crisp January morning, Sarah and Mike found themselves at the edge of the same clearing where the rescue had taken place. Dr. Rodriguez was gently lifting the door of the transport carrier when a healthy young bobcat, its leg now strong and steady, bounded out into the light. Duke! In a touching moment, the cub rushed to its waiting mother under the watchful shade of the pines. Their reunion was brief and heartwarming, a quick touch of noses and a soft chirp before they disappeared together into the forest, leaving behind a trail of memories and fresh hope. Just before vanishing, the mother looked back at the humans who had helped her baby, as if silently saying thank you. What could be more stirring than that silent gesture of trust? For Sarah, that day remained etched in her heart far more deeply than any headline ever could. The story of the bobcat that led her team into the woods and the brave act of a desperate mother reached far beyond a simple rescue. It had reshaped her view on life and work. Her colleagues soon began calling her the go-to person for any animal-related emergency, whether it was a trapped horse or an injured dog along a hiking trail. And every time she thought about that unforgettable morning, she remembered the way a moment of fear turned into a lasting lesson about trust and compassion, one that bridged the gap between the wild and the human world. Sometimes, on her drive home after a long shift, Sarah would catch a glimpse of a bobcat in the headlights or hear the faint cry of a wild animal carried by the wind. It reminded her that the best help sometimes comes from places you least expect. The memory of that day, the desperate plea of a wild mother reaching out for help, the unexpected guidance of a bobcat, and the fierce determination of a team ready to act remained a testament to the idea that true care knows no boundaries. And as the seasons changed and the valley bloomed and faded, the story continued to be shared at dinner tables and around campfires. A living reminder that trust, once given and honoured, has the power to heal even the deepest of wounds. What other secrets might the wild hold if we only dare to listen? In